How you guys doing? This is the Brominator, and I have my updated Steelswarm deck for you today. I haven't been posting anything in a long time. Last time I posted was my old Steelswarm deck. This is a little bit more updated with certain things, but yeah. And then hopefully, if I get good feedback, I'll keep posting stuff. And I'd love to hear any comments or any suggestions that you might have on this deck, but this is what I run so far. So I'm going to start off with the non-Steelswarm monsters. So first off, we have 3 Stygian Street Patrol. Stygian's basically, you know, if he's in your graveyard, you can banish him to special summon a fiend with 2,000 or less attack from your hand, which is good for getting out the little Steelswarms and then shooting those off for the bigger ones. He also has a attacking effect. If he destroys a monster by battle, you inflict 100 times that monster's level to your opponent. But usually it's just the graveyard effect that I'm looking for. Next off we have Dad, Dark Arm Dragon. There's some graveyard control in this deck, like with the Stygians being banished, and then with Scout, or not Scout, but with Scout, sorry. So you can bring him out somewhat easily. Next we have Illusionary Snatcher. Only one, because I don't want to have too many in my hand at one point for now. And basically, whenever you tribute summon a monster, you can special summon him from your hand, which Steelswarms are all about tributing, so easy to bring out. And then he copies the level and the attribute. So actually everything. He copies everything: the level, the attribute, and the type. And then he's good 24. He's also good for, like, you know, bringing out your monsters and then XZing with them. Basically, like, bringing out the Steelswarm tributes like Gearsag, popping a card, and then, you know, you could XZ into rank 7 like Big Eye. Next, have Darkness Neosphere. Darkness Neosphere is a huge wall sort of type card. Its effect activates from hand. If your opponent declares an attack, you can send a fiend type from your field and a fiend type from your hand to the grave to special summon him. So yes, the attack is like, now they can do it over, so they can choose not to attack, but 4,000 attack and it can't be destroyed by battle. It also has a trap effect, but that's not really used in this deck. 1 cell. I used to run 3, but I think only 1 just because of consistency sort of thing. I don't want to have too many in my hand and not get to the other monsters that I need right at the moment, because I have drawn into 3 cells opening hand. So 2 Scout, because you can never go wrong with the Freeborn of the deck. This isn't really back row heavy. There is back row cards, but it's not back row heavy. So you can bring him back from the graveyard and tribute him off. The only downside is you can't special summon the rest of the turn, but that doesn't really affect too much. Next, 2 Gatekeeper. The only one with defense out of all the Steelswarms. It's got 19 defense. And its effect is if you tribute summon while he's face up on the field, then you can normal summon again that turn. So it's good for, you know, double tribute summoning sort of thing, and defense. 3 Caller. He's at 17, and he is amazing in this deck because once you tribute him off, you can special summon another level 4 or lower Steelswarm from your deck straight to the field. Usually I go for another Caller, especially if I have more tributes in my hand, but you could go for a Scout. So, like, scout, and then it gets blown up, but he'll be brought back next turn anyways. So, whatever you want to go with that to get out the little ones from your deck. Next, for the tributes, 2 Moth. Moth, 2400 attack. Only needs 1 tribute, and you can bounce 2 cards from your opponent's field back to their hand by paying 1,000. The next one is the best one, Gear Stag. He's at 2600 attack. He's level 7, but if you tribute summon him with a Steelswarm tribute, he only needs 1 tribute, and then his effect, blow up 1 card on your opponent's field and you gain 1,000. So it's good for either gaining life points lost from other effects and blowing up a card on the field. So that's always good. That's it for the monsters. So now we go on to spells. We got, just because of all the dark targets, Reoccurring and Allure of Darkness. Allure of Darkness because all of the monsters in this deck are dark, so you're usually going to have something to banish after you draw 2. Then Reoccurring Nightmare. Reoccurring Nightmare, most of the Steelswarms all have, actually almost all Steelswarms have 0 defense, except for Gatekeeper. So you can easily just get any 2 back to your hand except for Gatekeeper, because they're all dark and most of them have 0 defense. The one and only Steelswarm spell I run in here, first step towards infestation, quick play. It can save your tribute monsters from either a dark hole or something else that's going to blow them up. You get this tribute back to your hand and then you draw a card. So, I mean, usually it's not good to do that unless the situation calls for it. Most of the time when I use this, it either is to save my monster, or if my opponent is ending their turn and I know I have a scout in my grave and no other spells or traps on the field, I'll play this on their end phase, bring my monster back, draw a card, and then during my next turn draw another card from my draw phase, and then summon scout, and then summon the tribute monster again, do its effects again, all that good stuff. Foolish Burial. A lot of targets for this card. You got your Steigans, you got your scouts, and depending on what you have in your hand, you can use this for other reasons. But normally it's going to be Steigen or Scout. 2 March of the Monarchs. Only 2. I don't want to run 3 because I don't want to have too many. Just with the fact, its effect is amazing with this deck, but if I have Scout in my grave, I can't bring back Scout because it's a continuous spell. But this will save all the tribute summon monsters, because tribute summon monsters cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects while this is on the field. So it saves Gear Stag and Moth from any like traps that might hurt them once they're summoned. And then staple spells, you know, Dark Hole, Monster Born, Heavy Storm, 1 MST. Next is traps. 2 Infestation Ripples. At the cost of 500 life points, you special summon a level 4 or lower Steelswarm from your graveyard. This can be used for a tribute or an XZ or anything you want to do at that time. And it only costs 500, so it's not that much of a problem. Especially if you're going into a Gear Stag, you're just going to gain 500 plus another 500 back. So, Infestation Wave, similar but different to first step towards infestation. You get the monster back to your hand, the tribute summoned Steelswarm monster back to your hand, but instead of drawing, you destroy any card on your opponent's side of the field. So it also works with the whole scout play. If this is the only card you have set, you know, activate it, bring back Gear Stag, pop something like a monster or back row. Then next turn, summon Scout, pop it, or not pop it, summon Scout, tribute it for Gear Stag, and you pop something else, and then you gain 1,000. So those things can work well for you. What's next? Tool. Infestation Tool. Good for getting Scout to the grave, but it can work on any Steelswarm in your deck, and then it gives any Steelswarm monster on the field an 800 attack point boost until the end phase. So, I mean, the Tribute Summon monsters have attack points. They have 26 and 24, but sometimes it won't go over. That won't be able to go over a JD or something else. So, something or a BLS. So, that's good for power, giving your monsters power. Staple traps. 1 D prison. 1 bottomless trap hole. And solemns. Solemn warning. Solemn judgment. Most of the time, you're not going to go towards your extra deck too often. With much of the monarchs, you're not allowed to use your extra deck, I believe, or it's special summoning in general. Check. You cannot special summon monsters from your extra deck, so yeah, no extra deck when you have that on the field. But this deck doesn't go towards the extra deck too often. The only time it does is if it's absolutely necessary, depending on your situation. The only ranks I run are 4 and 6. I don't have a rank 7 like Big Eye, so can't do that. But 2 Utopia for rank 4. It's a normal rank 4. 2 Steelswarm Roach. It has the Steelswarm name, and it's good for going up against Chaos decks or whatnot. Whatever, it's going to special summon a big monster. It's going to try to run over you. Evil Swarm Nightmare. Got this a while ago. I mean, it's a swarm monster. It's dark. Why not? Don't go into him too often, but it's there. Gaga Cowboy. Either his effect to roll over a monster, or, you know, defense mode effect, inflict 800. Photon Papal Operative, if they're trying to defend with either, I don't know, I don't even know, but it'll just flip over, it'll put any monster in defense mode into attack mode, make it lose 600 attack, and then, just for beating purposes, I guess, Gemini Pearl. Like, this is only situations where you're not going to summon, or tribute summon, because you either have, like, a Gatekeeper on the field and Steelswarm Caller in your hand, you have nothing to tribute, so. And then rank 6 is, right now all I have is Photon Strike Bouncer. I mean, and that's good, it's 2700 and you negate effects, so you can go into him if you do the whole summon Moth, which is level 6, and then special summon Illusionary Snatcher. Illusionary Snatcher becomes level 6, and then you can use their effects, cause damage maybe, and then you go into that at the end, at main phase 2. But yeah, that's the deck so far. It's still, I guess it's still a work in progress. I don't think I've taken this new format to any sort of tournament or anything, but tell me what you think. Tell me if it could use improvement. This is the Brominator signing out.